course, the start of a new era at the University of Iowa. In just moments, the university will introduce Kirk Ferentz, its new head football coach.
And Kirk Ferentz will take over in the wake of Hayden Fry's retirement about a week and a half ago. Tonight, the job is filled. TV9 Sports Director John Campbell is live at the Hawkeye Football Complex, where the news conference is just about to start. Right. John, what's the mood there right now?
Well, the mood is anticipation, I think. This place is absolutely jammed. Kirk Ferentz has just finished a meeting across the hallway with the players. All the players are in here, plus a lot of the dignitaries from the university. We've seen a lot of former players who have played with, or played under, we should say, Kirk Ferentz at Iowa. Kerry Burt's here, Norm Granger, Mark Singlinger, Mike Haight, Marv Cook. They're all in the room. Hayden Fry and his wife Shirley are here. This place is just jammed. Not only a lot of cameras, but also a lot of people just interested to see. You know, this hasn't happened down here in 20 years. Hayden Fry was introduced back in December of '78, so it has been a long time since the University of Iowa has had a new football coach. Now, Ferentz flew into Cedar Rapids shortly after 6 o'clock. We have some video of his arrival. He, of course, coached with the Ravens out in Baltimore, and then he was jetted out here to Cedar Rapids. And on this video, you can see Kirk and his family getting off the plane on the tarmac, getting their bags, and they came down here to Iowa City. And as we said, he did meet with the team, and now that meeting has broken up, and we are awaiting Kirk Ferentz's arrival here at the Jacobson Building. This is the room where Hayden Fry always held his Tuesday news conferences. It's a big classroom type situation, and I don't know. I don't think the fire marshal would want to come in this room right now, but we have an awful lot of people coming in. We're standing by once again for Kirk Ferentz to come into the room. He's 43 years old. He met with the selection committee last Tuesday, and by yesterday, this thing was all sewed up, and he was hired as the head football coach. His experience? Well, he was the offensive line coach here during the 1980s with Coach Hayden Fry, and they had some great linemen during those years and some great offensive lines intact. Then he went to the University of Maine for 3 years, where he was the head coach. That's valuable coaching experience. You might have heard Marv Cook earlier on air saying that was a real plus in his favor, because there's a real difference between being an assistant coach and being a head coach. And he's also, we can hear the music, and we're going to turn around behind us. Phil Hattie's coming into the room, and we can see Kirk Ferentz. Kirk Ferentz is followed by Bob Bowlesby, the athletic director. Mary Sue Coleman coming into the room, the president of the university. All the fans up clapping as the Hawkeye. That's Bob Bowlesby, the man who has hired Kirk Ferentz.
Hi, Kevin.
And sitting next to Bob Bowlesby and Mary Sue Coleman, the president of the university.
How are you,
and of course, the man of the hour is Kirk Ferentz. Kirk Ferentz just about to officially succeed Hayden Fry as the head football coach here at the University of Iowa. He looks like a happy man right now, and I would assume he is. Ferentz said he wasn't particularly looking for a job at this point, but when opportunities come, you have to take them, and this is a short opportunity for Kirk Ferentz to come back. This is Phil Hattie, the sports information director.
I think 9 days ago. Thank you all very much for coming. Short notice, a very joyous occasion for us, the naming of a new football coach. Our speakers tonight, we're going to start out with University President Mary Sue Coleman. She'll be followed by Athletic Director Bob Bowlesby, and he'll make the other introductions. I might say that as soon as we're done, for TVs that want a one-on-one brief interview, we'll do them immediately after the press conference. As far as the newsprint media, we'd like you to ask all your questions while he's up here right now, because there won't be a side press conference after this is over. So we'll just start. President Coleman.
This is a great day for Iowa, and it's a great day for Iowa football. I know what it feels like to go away from Iowa and come back after many years. So I know that our new coach is in for a real thrill. I am pleased, so pleased with what we went through and our search committee and the final result of our search committee. And it's just a delight for me to be here today and welcome you all here, and we look forward to some great years. Thank you.
Our sports information director tells me we forgot to introduce Hayden Fry and his wife. See how soon that happens, doesn't it? Hey, Hayden and Shirley, thanks for being here. to be a shock to everybody's system. Thanks for being here, Coach. And thank you all for being here. I want to reiterate what President Coleman had to say. This is a super day for us. I just couldn't be any more pleased. We started out 10 days ago and said we wanted to have this thing wrapped up with the right coach in 2 to 3 weeks. We've got recruiting weekends coming up, and Coach Ferentz is going to be here for all of those recruiting weekends. We got a lot of work to do, and we had an excellent screening group. We've got several of those people here, and it's going to be tough to pick them out in this crowd, but I want to thank all of them. And their names have been in the paper, but I can't tell you how efficient and how hard working that group was. We got a lot of things done in 9 days, and we really appreciate all the effort. And more than anything, we've had a tremendous outcome. We interviewed 5 candidates, and we discussed with colleagues and people all over the country the Iowa football job, and I especially talked with people that have made recent hires. And at every stop, Kirk Ferentz's name kept coming up. When you talk about the guys in the National Football League that are soon-to-be head coaches, Kirk Ferentz's name is always on the list when you talk to people. I spent some time with my colleague Kevin White, who some of you know is the Director of Athletics at Arizona State University, who had also been at Tulane and also at Maine, where Kirk coached. And he told me 2 things. He said, this man is an outstanding person and an outstanding coach, a guy that is driven. And what we found out during our search process was that Kirk Ferentz was a combination of the best qualities of the candidates we had in the pool. I am impressed with his personal characteristics. I'm impressed with his career growth and his development professionally and the achievements that he's had. He's got a terrific young family and a great work ethic. In fact, he left me a voicemail at 5:15 a.m. this morning. I have to tell you, I was impressed by that. But he's bright, articulate, innovative, widely regarded as the best in the business at what he does. And more than anything else, he's a player's coach. And Randy Reiners was involved in all of our off-campus interviews. And I think you ought to let Randy make his own comments, but I think it's safe to say we were universally impressed, and particularly impressed with his commitment to the total development of student athletes. When I got back from the interview on Tuesday night, one of the things I did was call Coach Fry. And I didn't ever ask him to compare candidates because I thought that was an unfair process, but I said to him, I really am impressed with Kirk Ferentz. Tell me what you can about him, and tell me what you think of him as our head coach. And everything he said to me, it was nothing but positive. Great work ethic, great recruiter, great skill instructor, just a solid person and a guy that will do whatever it takes within the rules to make a great football thing happen. And I heard nothing but positive. And so I called him, we talked some more, we continued for a few minutes, and ended up offering him the job, and I was glad that he was just as enthusiastic when we spoke as he was when we had talked earlier in the day. And we offered the job. In the last 2 days, it's done nothing but get better and better. It's been really, truly outstanding to get to know he and his family. Our new coach exemplifies all the best traditions of winning football under Hayden Fry. He was a part of a big chunk of it. Some of our best teams ever occurred while he was here. And he's a great fit for Iowa. There isn't any other way to put it. And it is with great pride and pleasure that I introduce to you our new head football coach, Kirk Ferentz.
Am I supposed to stand up?
Thank you, please. Well, it was great to hear that song again, just coming in, and I can't tell you how thrilled and honored I am here. Get my composure back a little bit. I kind of lost it in the team meeting. It's been a hectic however many days since last Saturday night, I guess, when I learned that I was going to be involved in this, have a chance to be involved with this position, and it's just been a tremendous time for me, really exciting, and just thrilled to be here at this point. And I think it's only fitting right now that I start by thanking some people. And I think you have to start at the beginning when you talk about thanks and tribute. I have to start with Coach Fry. He's the gentleman that brought me here back in 1981. And at that time, I promise you, I didn't know much about Iowa, other than they hadn't had many winning football teams, or hadn't had one in a long, long time. And it's just amazing how things can change in a short amount of time. But
he's been just a tremendous influence in my life, I guess, and I would say anybody's life that's been associated with this program. The players, the coaches, the fans, both locally and nationwide. You just can't say enough about what he's done for Iowa football and the program that he's built over 20 years' time. And Coach, I think all of us are very, very appreciative of that. And the service that you've given is just outstanding. Also would like to take this opportunity to thank President Coleman and the university for giving me this opportunity. Very, very appreciative of that. Bob and his committee. It was a tremendous visit we had this week. Just a totally enjoyable day for me. And Bob has been tremendous throughout this whole process with me. And I'm really looking forward to working with him over the years to come. And I think we're going to make a good team. Also, and better not forget this one, I guess, I want to thank my wife and my family, and I know they're out there somewhere. My wife, Mary, who's always been there for me, and she's the one who raises the kids most of the time, at least, and it's great that they can be here tonight. And lastly, I think I ought to thank Art Modell, and also throw in Ted Marchibroda and Bill Belichick, the two head coaches I worked for in Cleveland/Baltimore. Very appreciative of the opportunity they've given me to get my start in the NFL. As you may know, I'll just take a second to talk about my schedule over the weeks to come. I'm going to try to split my duties between working for the Baltimore Ravens and Iowa University of Iowa, and I just feel like it's the right thing to do. It's going to be a tough thing to do, obviously. I would love to be here full-time at this point, but the Modell family's been extremely good to me. Coach Marchibroda has been tremendous with me also, and I just feel like I have to finish this season up. There's no question about that. But we are looking forward to the days ahead, getting to know the players, spending time with them, getting a feel for them a little bit and letting them know me, and attending to the staff. That's obviously a high priority right now, and as well as recruiting. Those are the obvious things that we have to tend to as quickly as possible, and really looking forward to that. So without further ado, I'll throw it out again. I'm just thrilled to be here and looking forward to a long, healthy relationship.
Coach Ferentz, I know this is obviously early in your campaign, but have you given it any thought to what kind of offense you're going to run here at Iowa?
Well, no, it is early in my campaign, and it's been about 10 minutes maybe, or no, not even. Hopefully a productive one. Hopefully a productive one. I have some thoughts. I mean, obviously, that's what I've done last 18 years or so, and 19 years, whatever it's been. And the one word I like to use, I guess, when we talk about offense is balance. I think that's paramount with any successful team. And, no two Saturdays are going to be the same. We're going to hopefully put together a balanced attack and hopefully find a way to be successful.
Coach, you've been with the pros now for a period of time. What about the switch back to college?
Bob, it's my time in pros has been great. I've enjoyed it. Obviously, it was a great opportunity. Done a lot of learning, another learning experience for me. But to me, coaching's always been coaching. And whether I coached at high school, college, or the pros, I've enjoyed it. I see no problem making the transformation back, and really I'm kind of looking forward to the collegiate experience. Some things happened this fall that I shared with the committee that kind of got me thinking that's the direction I'd like to go, and I'm thrilled to be back.
You want to be a recruiter then?
Well, I better be, or I'm not going to be here next year. I know that much. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And recruiting's a lot of hard work. Any coach would tell you that. A lot of travel, time away from your family. But it's also a lot of fun. It's a real challenge. It's a chance, again, to meet a lot of great people, both the players, the families, the coaches that are involved with them, their teachers, counselors, what have you. So it's a great thing, and I'm looking forward to that.
Have you followed the Hawks much since in the last?
Just a little bit. Yeah, you kidding me? My son, my son Brian would clobber me. Yeah, Iowa's been a big part of my life, obviously, and as I said, Coach Fry gave me my start. He gave me my break in college football, and when we left here, but we didn't leave Iowa. A big part of us is still here.
Could you give us a time frame on putting the coaching staff together, and how about the current Hayden's current assistant?
Well, I think obviously the most important thing is that I get a chance to visit with the coaches that are on the staff right now, and that's priority number one right now for me. Obviously, I have a few people in mind that I'd like to consider, what have you, from the outside, but I want to talk to the guys on the staff right now, and then we'll move forward from that point on. But I am under no timetable.
Coach, what kind of timetable are you personally going to have in the next month between Baltimore and here? I mean, what kind of schedule?
Bob and I have talked a little bit, and I spoke with Ted about it. And I think ideally right now the smartest thing I can probably do is try to be here at the end of the week. As I said, we have 3 real critical weekends coming up here with recruits coming to campus. And for me not to be here, I think would be kind of silly. It's a chance to get them all at one time and hopefully shake some hands and get to know them a little bit. And so that's kind of, I'm leaning in that direction, being here and then joining the team again on either Saturday night or Sunday, wherever we're playing, and then doing my work there early in the week and trying to get everything done before I leave out at the end of the week.
Kirk, at what point in your college, your coaching career, did you envision yourself replacing Fry?
Probably never. I mean, Mary and I were laughing a little bit or talking about it coming over here, that just, you know, who would have dreamt in 1981? I mean, we were just thrilled to be coming out here. It was, and I will share this with you. When I did have the opportunity to interview with Coach Fry, I told my wife about it the day before, and she said, Iowa, you know, geez, you know, we're 2 people from Pittsburgh and from the East Coast, and I really came out here very relaxed because I wasn't that serious about probably coming. And after the day here, I fell in love with the state, fell in love with everything that I saw on Coach Fry. Obviously made a great impression. And I went home that night just hoping like heck I'd get the job, and sure I won, you know, but it's funny how things work. So, you know, 18 years later, here you are.
Coach, you say at Iowa isn't a program that can consistently be a Big Ten contender or a national championship contender. Do you believe that? What are your thoughts you think you can take this program?
Well, you know, I guess, you know, if you talk about a national championship contender, that's what everybody sets out to do, but to be in that top echelon, that's obviously a tough challenge for most universities. But that's what we're all going to strive to do, I'm sure. And but as far as being a contender, a Big Ten contender, that's where it all starts when you're in the Big Ten. I think it's been proven that it can be done. Things have to fall right, and it takes an awful lot of hard work and great play and that type of thing. But it's proven that it has been done. It's not easy, no question about that.
What are your thoughts after meeting the players for the first time?
Well, it's not too much to say. It was a very brief meeting. As I said, I was kind of scrambled a little bit. I have to admit that. My sleep pattern hasn't been what it probably should be the last 5-6 days. But again, I'm looking forward to meeting them more on an individual basis, having a chance to visit with them a little bit, and getting a little better feel for them as they will with I.
Kirk, is this a decision you had to think about a lot, or is it just easy?
Well, as I alluded to a little bit earlier, there were a couple of things that happened during this past fall that made me think that I might be interested in this direction. And in coaching, you never know where you're going to head, I guess. And I've never been a big one for setting goals. You know, I want to be at this point or at that position by such and such a time. Things just happened to, I guess, fall. You know, I was interested in college coaching, and you know, I don't think anybody anticipated Coach Fry retiring. So, you know, who could have predicted that? But you know, things just happened to work out.
Coach, you had heard that Hayden had retired. Did you think, gosh, I have an opportunity to replace Hayden Fry, or was that never an issue?
Not really. I mean, my thoughts at that time were for Coach Fry. You know, it was the people in personnel down the hall were kind enough to let me know it was going to come on, I guess, ESPN News or one of those networks. They were kind enough to let me know it was going to, so I had a chance to watch it, and it was a very emotional day for all of us, I think, associated with the program. And at that point, my thoughts were for Coach Fry and his happiness, and that's about the extent of it.
Was there ever a point where you started thinking about it before Saturday when they had contacted you for the job?
Yeah, some thoughts. You know, some reporters had called and asked if I'd be interested in that type of thing, and certainly I would. I think anybody would have been. But, you know, basically, I've never been one to pursue jobs or chase jobs, however you want to phrase that, and, you know, things have a way of working out for the best sometimes.
Being as close as you are to the program, being a part of it for 9 seasons, and knowing what kind of position Hayden Fry has set, is that more of a pressure or an opportunity for you to replace a legend like Coach Fry?
Well, you don't replace a legend, that's for sure. You know, I'm going to follow Coach Fry. I won't even try to replace him. That would be, you know, silly on my part. And as far as, you know, pressure, what have you, you know, there's going to be pressure in any job you have, I suppose. But pressure just comes from within. You know, it's something you feel with inside, trying to do the best job you possibly can, and that's what I'm offering this university. That's what I've come here to do. We're going to do our best, and all of our energies and efforts are going to be devoted towards that task. Period. And you know, we're going to do the best we can, and I think that'll be good enough.
Are you aware of the uproar around here about Bob Stoops, and what do you make of that whole situation?
Well, I don't make a lot of it. Bob's a friend of mine. I thought he may be involved or what have you, but anytime I think a university fills a position, football coach, what have you like that, there's always going to be rumors, there's always going to be speculation, and I haven't been involved in many searches, quite frankly, but I've certainly seen an awful lot of them. You know, basically, I think I've kind of learned through the years that you believe what you see, you know, believe what happens, and you know, I think it's very typical with any job search that there's always wild speculation or what have you, and I'm not sure what the details are, what the speculation may be, but you know, I think things have worked out fine.
Is there a time in the last 6 years that you were more focused or hopeful on becoming an NFL head coach someday than on perhaps a college coach?
No, I mean, not really. Really, I've always tried to coach with today in mind. You know, that's kind of been my theory on the thing. You do the best you can do on a daily basis, and usually if you do that, things work out. Not always. You know, you lose a few games. We're having a tough season out our place right now. We had a very difficult stretch early in the season, but that's part of athletics too. You know, you weather the bad times, you keep swinging the bat, and see what happens. So,
in the Big Ten, do you have any close friends who are coaching, or?
I spoke with one. I don't want to call him a friend, Nick Saban. He's kind of a grumpy guy. But Nick called this morning. Nick and I worked together in Cleveland for a couple of years, and I've got great respect for Nick as a person, as a football coach, and welcomed his call this morning because he basically went through the same thing that I'm about to go through when he accepted the job at Michigan State. He continued on with the Browns, and I guess we're 2 games into the playoffs that year, so he was helped me out a little bit, tell me about some of the rigors that are ahead, and try to give me some tips on how to make it more manageable.
What would you call your primary recruiting basis?
Well, I don't know that things will swing or change an awful lot from the past 20 years even. I mean, I think obviously the Midwest has got to be where everything starts, and I'm sure we'll continue to work out east and work down towards Texas. And I understand the program's worked out in California a little bit in Florida, so you know, we're going to try to go where the players are. And if we think somebody's interested in the University of Iowa, we're going to do our best to help move that interest along a little bit.
How do you think you're a better coach than the day you left here in 1989?
Well, you know, it's like anything in life that you do, I think, with experience and time. You can't help, you know, if you're paying attention, you can't help but learn a little bit. And, you know, obviously I'm a little bit more experienced. I've had a few, been exposed to a lot of things, I guess. Some good, some bad. Had a head coaching experience at the University of Maine, which was not the smoothest 3 years, but it was a great experience for me in retrospect. And I wouldn't change a thing that I've done. The 5 or 6 years, I guess it's been 6 now that I've had in the NFL. Again, some good, some bad. We had some wild times in Cleveland, obviously, when they decided to cut Bernie Kosar. That wasn't real. It wasn't a quiet day, and obviously when the team moved. So I've seen a lot, and probably 1995 taught me one thing: you can take just about anything. You know, you're going to live through it.
That brings to the point your relationship with the press. How do you see that?
Hopefully it'll be good, Bob. I don't go out of my way to have bad relationships with anybody, but no, seriously, you know, I can't think of a bad memory I had in Iowa. I really can't, and I don't see any. You know, I'm looking forward to working with the media just like I am with everybody else. You know?
How would you describe your coaching style?
Well, you know, that's a tough one, I guess. You know, I'm not a flamboyant person, I guess, if that's a way to say it. I think I work hard. You know, I try to give an honest day's work, and I try to be a good learner. You know, I've learned an awful lot. I've been around a lot of tremendous people in football, a lot of tremendous people. I learned from my players. I've been around a lot of great players, and you learn every day. I mean, that's one fascinating thing about coaching. So I think if you do that, hopefully you keep moving forward.
Coach Fry recently has said that the game has changed quite a bit in the last 10 years, and you've been out of this for 6 years. And he said it's such that it becomes even more difficult to win in a place like Iowa. Are you aware of that, and what have you thought about doing to take on that?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to, but you know, winning's not easy anywhere, to my knowledge. You know, and I have great appreciation for winning. You know, and when I got here in 1981, I kind of timed it up just perfect. Right? I got there. They had gone through 2 very, I'm sure, strenuous years, and a lot of people sacrificed. make 1981 become a reality. And you know, I think anybody that's been through a process like that or been through athletics knows how tough it is to win. You know, and I think that's something everybody has to have an appreciation for. And that's what motivates you, I think, to work hard and concentrate and have the kind of focus it takes to be successful. I don't know why you can't win at Iowa as opposed to anywhere else. It's not going to be easy, no question about it, but we'll give it our best shot.
What areas are you looking to work on to turn this team around from a 3-8 record this year?
I really can't speak to that. I'm not familiar with what happened. I think there were some injuries, as I understand it, this year, and bad breaks, and you know, we've all been through seasons like that. But the good news is it sounds like there's a tremendous core of players here. People I've talked to are very enthusiastic about the players coming back, and I'm sure, as all of us that have been through seasons like that, we're all anxious to set that back right. And one thing I have learned in sports, attitude makes a big difference. And I think the fact that sometimes when you hit a bump in the road, guys want to come back a little bit harder. And you know, again, that's what happened in 1981. I just happened to be here at the right time. But we had a lot of players here that were tired of losing and had really worked and sacrificed. And you know, they made a difference. They made a change.
Coach, after being away for 9 years, do you still remember how to do the hokey pokey?
I'll get a little briefer lesson on that. I haven't heard that one in a while. That's a good one. That was always fun. That was always fun.
Hayden spent 20 years in that chair. He retired in that chair. Can you envision that if you're successful and so forth? Could this be the last job?
In this day and age, I don't know if that's possible. I really don't. But I mean, that would be a storybook ending. And you know, the odds against it are probably against that, but it'd be a storybook ending. I don't know what could be better than that.
Coach, what happened in 3 years at Maine? You had 2 3-8s and a 6 and 5, and how is the environment going to be different here than it was there?
The environment's a lot different, to be honest with you. Probably the #1 reason I went to the University of Maine, as Bob alluded to, Kevin White was our athletic director up there. And I guess I'm a great judge of character. You know, I met Kevin and really thought he was a tremendous person. Our president, Dale Lick, was outstanding. So I made the right move as far as that goes. What I forgot was that, you know, they may not be there the whole time, and they were going very shortly thereafter, left for other universities. But it was a great experience for me. It was a very difficult time, I think, for that program. I was the 4th head coach that our 5th-year seniors played for. And I think what that really showed me, not unlike the move that the Cleveland Browns made to Baltimore, you know, when you're dealing with people, there's a little bit more to it. You know, I mean, relationships and trust and those kinds of things are very important. So I think that was really evident up there. It took a long time, not a long time, but it took time to get the players' trust. Recruiting had suffered greatly, you know, with the turnover, 4 different head coaches. Obviously, that's not real good. And you look at what Coach Fry had here in terms of continuity and those types of things. You know, it's a world of difference. But you know, we hung in there. We fought through it, and we had a real enjoyable year my last year there.
Coach, what did you learn there as a head coach that you can apply here?
I think it was maybe a blessing in disguise that I did go up there, because I'm sure I made a lot of mistakes. I know I did. It looked an awful lot easier, you know, watching Coach Fry across the room, and then when you had that chance to make some of those decisions and what have you, judgments, you really, I guess, gained a real appreciation for what that position was all about. And I think, you know, it all starts again with the people that you bring into your program. You know, that's what has made this program so successful, and you know, that's a lesson that was reinforced when I was at Maine.
Do you see yourself spending extra time with the offensive line, your area of expertise, or how would that?
I mean, I'd probably be guilty of peeking down there a little bit more than I should, you know, and maybe nosing into it. But that'd be natural. That's my love, I guess, my first love. At least that's something I've always done, or done for an awful long time now. But my role as a head football coach is going to be to oversee the entire program and make sure, you know, that I'm accessible to everybody, and I'm going to watch everybody real closely and, you know, help encourage and move forward.
Carney said yesterday that your work habits were someplace between normal and Bill Snyder. Are you like a...
That's not normal, I know that.
Are you in the office like a midnight every night, or is there you have kind of real life to it?
You know, I guess you do what it takes. You do what it takes. I've always been uncomfortable talking about ours. You know, a lot of people work on awfully hard, but it's not hard, I don't think, when you have a passion for what you do. And I think football coaches, most of us would agree, we're the luckiest people in the world because we have a passion for what we do. It's an exciting job. It's not always enjoyable. But again, you know, you work through it and you just keep firing away.
Would you see yourself calling the plays during the course of the game, or would the offensive coordinator send them down to you? Or?
Well, that's something we'll determine as we go along, you know, as we're piecing things together and what have you. But I don't feel like I have to call the plays yet. You know, that might not be a bad idea. We'll see how that goes as we progress.
What is your scheduling philosophy as far as non-conference is concerned?
We contacted Maine, and so, you know, wanted to see if they'd be interested. Kind of a family reunion deal. Yeah. Bob and I have talked about that, and I'm real comfortable with where we're at philosophically on that, and I don't foresee any change, I guess, from the direction they've been going.
Will you have closed practices? Have you decided that?
Well, we'll take we'll talk about that as we go along. That's one thing that really stood out to me. I was at the University of Pittsburgh before I came to Iowa, and that year in 1980, we were #2 in the country. We had an outstanding football team, and come out here to Iowa, and the first thing I'll never forget, Barry Alvarez says, you know, we're sold out season tickets here next year. This was in June, I guess it was. I said, sold out? I don't understand. I hadn't done much research on Iowa. All I knew was Hayden Fry was a tall, square-jawed Texan. Okay, I knew that one. And then I also knew that they hadn't won in 17 years, I think it was, or 19 years at that time. So that really, you know, took me back a little bit. And the point I'm getting at as far as closed practices, at Pittsburgh, our practices were open. We had an excellent football team, and it was no big deal. All right, now you come to a place like Iowa City where things are so intense and what have you. I quickly learned why he had to close the practices, and yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that practice is continued.
Now, for heaven's sake, close them.
Keep that in mind, Bob.
Are you going to put Oklahoma on?
Question, Coach, about the interview process with regard to Randy Reiners. Did he ask some questions, and along what lines?
He did ask some questions. How many times we're going to throw the ball? Typical quarterback type questions. You know, but I've been around quarterbacks, so I'm used to dealing with that. No, Randy was tremendous. You know, he's an outstanding young man, and looking forward to working with him.
Coach, with these big recruiting weekends coming up, how important is it that you get some people, you know, either retain some of the coaches that are here or bring in some new ones to help you with this recruiting process, especially with you and your schedule with the Ravens right now? Well,
you know, I think it's just what you said there. It is important, you know, and I'd like to get things settled as quickly as I can. Yet at the same time, going back to my experiences at Maine, I think they're, or even look at what's happened at Iowa through the years. There's nothing more important than the staff that you put together, because they're going to be an extension of what it is you want your program to stand for. And so I want to take my time, make sure we do things the proper way, and you know, we'll work our way through it. Hopefully it'll be compatible with a good recruiting season as well. Obviously that's important as well. But I like to think in terms of the long term, and you know, we'll be thorough and make sure we do things the proper way.
Bob, can you speak to the terms of the contract?
We are still in the process of working out all the details, but it is likely that the base salary will be in the $550,000 a year range, with incentives and other opportunities that could raise the annual compensation to between $700,000 and $800,000, depending upon the level of attainment. And in all cases, the kinds of incentive program and what have you that we've put together tie success on the field and success off the field together, so that those two are completely compatible, and that there are ample incentives to excel in all aspects of the student-athlete experience and all aspects of our football program. It's a 5-year contract.
Coach Fry was a pretty flamboyant. Got people excited. People may want that again. Do you think you may be forced to change your personality at all to get people excited?
That'd probably be tough to do. No, you know, I'm going to be myself. And believe me, I'll get a little bit emotional, and I'll get enthusiastic and what have you. And I think we'll be fine there. We'll be fine.
Bob, a question about the selection process. Why did you choose to go the route of a committee rather than make the decision yourself? And why did you include 2 members of the faculty and no coaches in that committee?
Well, actually, Coach Gable and I talked about his involvement early in the process, but he had some commitments, and we were on a time frame that wasn't necessarily going to facilitate it real well, and so we added or put Marv Cook on that group, the screening group. Randy Reiners, we wanted to have player representation, and the faculty members that were on there are people that have been intimately involved in the athletics program over the years. John Donaldson, professor of biochemistry, is the chair of the board and control of athletics, and Betsy Altmeyer has been the liaison with the provost's office for several years, and is a faculty member in psychology. And so they have had an intimate relationship with the athletics program, and I'm glad to have an opportunity to answer that question, because the screening committee that we had in place was nothing but an advantage for us. We had all the people that needed to buy into any decision at the table when we were talking to candidates. And for those of you that have been around a while, Brooksy, you may remember that the Hayden Fry search in the late 70s took 12 days from the end of the football season until the I think it was December 8th when he was named. And so this process moved along without any hitches in terms of timetable, and I thought it was a very effective group, and I never felt that the decision wasn't 100% my own, but it was really nice to have representation of the constituencies that needed to have ownership anytime you bring somebody that's as high profile as a new head football coach to your campus. And it's important to us that we have someone who fits the fabric of this institution, who believes in what we believe in, who believes in the student-athlete experience in a total way, and who understands what the traditions at Iowa have been, the traditions of Hayden Fry and his kinds of programs. Student-athletes that work hard in the classroom, work hard on the football field, and have a lot of fun with college football. And so the search and screening committee that we had was not an impediment whatsoever. In fact, in my opinion, it was a significant advantage, because we didn't have to go back to campus and talk to anyone other than our president, and because we had the people there ready to provide input and ready to participate in the process and advise me on their thoughts on the various candidates. I thought it was a very positive process that moved very efficiently.
Final decision on hiring Coach Ferentz yours then?
It certainly was, in collaboration with the committee.
Was Coach Ferentz on the top of your list the whole time?
I don't know that we went in with a top candidate, in all honesty. I think there were varying levels of information. I'd done a lot of research, talked to a lot of people, and had a lot of conversations, but I think it would have been hard to characterize one as the leading candidate, because we had questions we wanted to ask. We had an interview process to conduct, and one that would hopefully provide us the information we needed to make the best possible choice. And I think Kirk Ferentz is a terrific fit at this university.
Did you have any idea that Bobby Stoops already had a job offer from Oklahoma when you interviewed him?
I'm not going to get into the Bobby Stoops situation. There may be a time to speak frankly about certain aspects of the process, and now is not the time. And this is a night to celebrate a new era in Hawkeye football, and an era that's going to be led by Kirk Ferentz and led very capably.
Kurt, what about home visits? Will that be a problem?
Hopefully not, Bob. Hopefully we can work around that. And like I said, I think it's real important these next 3 weekends that we get to see. That's the best way I think I can maximize my time as far as face-to-face visits. And when we get back in January, we're going to go straight out until the thing's over. So if it's possible to be in somebody's home, we're going to be there. No question about it.
Completely out of the playoff picture?
We'd have to win them all out from this point on. And quite frankly, we're the kind of team right now that could win 4 in a row, or we could lose 4 in a row. So I'd hate to predict that one.
Got the Bears on your schedule.
That's what they're saying about us.
Coach, do you think your experience with the NFL is going to help with that?
I don't think it's going to hurt, certainly. I think most high school prospects are have an interest in playing in the National Football League, and that's fine, no question about that, and that's something that I can speak firsthand about, I think. So yeah, hopefully it'll help.
Coach, two assistants that are currently on with Tom Patterson and Chuck Long competed for the head coaching job. Is that going to impact your decision on whether you will retain them for the better or for the worse that they competed for this job?
No, not at all. And I know Don and Chuck, and you know, I'm looking forward to sitting down with both Chuck and Don and just see what their thoughts are. And no, it's not related at all.
Coach, what was your wife's and some of your children's reaction when you had the opportunity to come to Iowa?
You may have to ask my wife, Mary. I might defer to that one. Usually they end up getting informed over the phone, unfortunately. Not unlike when other things have come along or opportunities come along. You know, I kind of lay low a little bit until it looks like something might develop, and then like I said, I inform Mary, and then she usually informs the kids. I haven't seen my kids a lot the last 2 weeks, unfortunately.
Any questions for Mary?
Oh, I couldn't find those guys. If I could, I'll bring them up. JT got ahead, huh? It's my son James, right here. Steve, our youngest. Joanne, our lovely daughter. And my son Brian, our oldest. And Kelly is not here. Kelly, our 13-year-old. Got to make sure I get those years straightened out. Our 13-year-old's not here right now.
What high school is the big guy going to play for?
Solon.
What makes you think you can play? There you go.
Whose birthday is it tomorrow?
This guy right here.
Hawkeye football coach Kirk Ferentz, standing there with his wife and 4 of their 5 children. He's been answering questions for, a little about over a half an hour.
Or do you have enough of those?
I think we have enough.
Okay. Thank you. Any more questions? Okay, for TV, you want to...
You're watching live coverage of the introduction of the new head Hawk, Kirk Ferentz, coming to you from the Jacobson Building on the University of Iowa campus, and we just met the Ferentz family. Almost all the entire Ferentz family. One of the children are missing tonight, but Kirk Ferentz talking to us for about the last 40 minutes or so.
Yes, very interesting what everyone had to say tonight. Mary Sue Coleman, then Bob Bowlesby, then Kirk Ferentz talking. Bob Bowlesby and Mary Sue Coleman saying he's a wonderful fit for the state of Iowa, a wonderful fit for the Iowa program. Kirk Ferentz saying he's thrilled to be back here, that he has many Iowa ties, and he feels very comfortable here as well.
That's been the most pleasant surprise for everybody, is that Kirk Ferentz has been here for 9 years. And you know, that's what they set out to find in the very beginning. They wanted someone who had ties to the Hayden Fry and the Iowa program, the Iowa tradition. And a lot of people didn't remember Kirk Ferentz, but Kirk Ferentz is the guy who fit the bill. Bobby Stoops also fell in the same category. He was someone who played for Hayden, but Kirk Ferentz did that for 9 years, and as we're finding out now, he was the architect of many of those big teams in the 80s that we cheered for here in Iowa, the teams that went to the Rose Bowl, by the way.
And another interesting point he made, he says he's going to have no problem making the switch back from the NFL to college sports. He says that actually both programs, both experiences have served him very well, and he feels very comfortable taking over, and he calls Hayden Fry a mentor as well, and it's obvious Hayden loves him.
He's going to have to do that switching for the next couple of weeks. Of course, he's going to continue to stay with the Baltimore Ravens, which may come as a surprise. They have about 4 more games, and as he said, they're going to have to win all 4 of them to go to the playoffs, but he's going to be splitting his time back and forth between Iowa and Baltimore, and then become ours when his contract expires at the end of December. So he and the family will be moving out here shortly, again back to where they came from in the 1980s.
That's right. In case you are just joining us, we have been broadcasting the press conference live from Iowa City, where Kirk Ferentz was introduced as the 26th head coach, football coach that is, at the University of Iowa. Our Rod Mackey and Chris Miller are live down there. And gentlemen, what are your thoughts?
Well, the 26th head coach, and obviously the one with the most pressure on him. Obviously, Iowa's last season a disappointing one at 3-8. But you're replacing a legend, although, as Kirk Ferentz pointed out, he's not going to replace him. He's just nearly the next guy in line. I thought a very impressive press conference, Chris.
I did too, right? The bottom line is this. The guy has been here before. He knows what the ins and outs, and he's pretty much sounds like Hayden Fry with the closed practices and all of that. One thing about him that we did like is Randy Reiners, the quarterback for the Iowa Hawkeyes, had a chance to sit down and talk to him, so he has been able to talk to some of the players. Spent about 5 minutes minutes with him also before the press conference today.
I thought what he said was pretty interesting about the fact that they rushed this process, not rushed necessarily. Bob Bowlesby said this was the time frame he wanted to set. He wanted to get someone in here before this first big weekend about the whole recruiting thing. But Coach Ferentz basically said, you know what, #1 priority is get my assistants. We need longevity. We need to get the right people in place, meaning basically...
it looks like the coach is about right here, right?
So I don't have to talk anymore. We can talk to the coach himself and see what he has to say. Very good. You stand right there, Coach. Rod Mackey, Chris Miller, congratulations. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hawkeye head coach, has it sunk in yet?
Not quite yet, no. It's been a whirlwind the last 6-7 days or so, so I'm sure we'll catch up here in a little bit.
What's your family think of this whole thing, Coach?
They're excited. I mean, Iowa's a big part of our lives, always has been, so we're very excited to be coming back here and can't wait to get going.
Take us through the process. When did you find out that you were up for the job, and how soon did you know that you were accepted for the position?
Well, I guess I probably found out over the last past weekend, Saturday night, whatever it was, that they wanted to spend some time and interview with me, and we met on Tuesday. I think things went pretty well on Tuesday, and you know, Bob and I started talking a little bit on Tuesday evening, and things have just gone real tremendously.
Obviously, there's so much pressure of trying to come after Hayden Fry, who spent 20 years at the helm here, but you've spent some time here yourself. That's got to help you.
No question. I mean, I don't like to think in terms of following Coach Fry because, as I mentioned, you know, Coach Fry is a unique person. He's done a tremendous job here, and so all we're going to try to do is continue to make him proud and try to make this program just embody the things that he built.
When Coach Fry left, Bob Bowlesby said it was very important that he wanted to keep this process short, get someone in here to help with the recruiting thing, but I thought it was very interesting what you said. Recruiting is important, yes, but you have to make sure you get your assistants underneath you that will be there for the long term first and foremost.
Right. Well, certainly we want to do as well as we can in recruiting and putting the staff together, but I guess one thing I've learned through the years, I don't think it's better not to make a bad decision, so I'd rather take a little bit more time maybe and be cautious, but that's not to say we're not going to not to be after it real quickly.
Now, in case some of the people didn't hear it in the press conference, can you take us through your time frame working with the Ravens and trying to stay here as the Hawkeye head coach?
Well, basically, I guess we have 3 more games after this weekend's. So what I'm going to try to do is make sure that I time it up where I'm here at the end of the week when the recruits are on campus. It seems like that's just a logical way. I can see an awful lot of people here in the next 3 weekends. Give me a chance to get to know them a little bit face to face, and I'll be phone calling and that type of thing from Baltimore. I'll go back there, probably meet the team on Sundays, and then work as hard as I can, so I am able to leave at the end of the week.
Now tell me if this story is right. I heard that already last night you were calling some of the Hawkeye players' families just to get in contact with them. Is that true?
No, that's not true. I did talk to Carol Hill, I guess it was this morning, or I happened to walk in James Harris's office, and he and J.D. Hill were teammates at one time, so jumped on the phone with Mrs. Hill. That was it.
Final question for you, Coach. You get thrown in the fire big time. Not only the heat and the recruiting, but season opener at home against Nebraska.
Gee, somebody mentioned that to me. Yeah, I've heard of that school. You know, it's exciting. You know, it was the first game I guess I participated in as a Hawkeye. We played Nebraska, opened up with them in '81. I hope we're as fortunate to come out with a win. That'd be tremendous.
Very good. Hey, good luck to you, Coach. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very good, Chris. Well, I mean, very classy act so far from what we can see. Has the right answers. And I thought what he said at the beginning of the press conference was really neat. They were playing the Hawkeye fight song. He said, wow, that brought back memories. That was neat. You got a guy coming in just like Hayden wanted. Hayden's one request, bring a guy with Iowa connections, and he got it.
And he says he's looking forward to doing the Hokey Pokey too again, so we're looking forward to seeing that also.
We didn't get to see that last year, so it'd be nice to bring back again. Close practices, some of the stuff he talked about sounded very similar to what Coach Fry was saying.
It's going to be very interesting to see how this pans out with the coaching situation too.
Let's send it back to Brian and Amy. And Brian and Amy, what did you guys get from the impression as far as the press conference goes? Obviously, the Bobby Stoops thing was kind of pushed on the back burner. It was tried to be brought up a couple times, and Bob Bowlesby pretty much said this is not the time for that.
Yeah, we were just going to make note of the same thing, that Bowlesby really said that he didn't want to talk about it right now, and it was pretty much a done deal.
I don't think it was pushed to the back burner, Rod. I think it was shoved off the entire stove. He did not want to address that at all. He made it clear that it was Kirk Ferentz's night, and obviously Bob might still be a little tender about the whole issue. I guess it's the best way to put it.
Absolutely. What do you two think?
I'll tell you what, the bottom line is this. The Stoops story story. It's over with. Now we need to concentrate on who the coach is right now. It is Kirk Ferentz. He will lead these Hawkeyes to battle next year. Opening game, as Rod said, against Nebraska. Let's put the soup situation aside. Let's see what this guy can do for the Iowa program.
Keep in mind that this guy, you know, sometimes when fans get their mindset that, hey, this is the coach we want. Coach Ferentz had nothing to do with what happened with Bobby Stoops. He's coming in here with a clean slate, and he's won in the past. I mean, he was here 9 seasons, 8 consecutive bowl appearances for the Hawkeyes. Granted, he was the offensive line coach, but he's part of a winning program. He knows what it means to win, despite the fact the Ravens are struggling now. I mean, he's worked his way up into the NFL.
You know, he also said during his stint at Maine, those 3 seasons where he compiled a record of 12-21, he learned a lot from that. The process of going through and actually being a head coach for the first time, he said he learned a lot. So now the guy has experience of being a head coach. Let's see what he can do. I mean, let's give him a chance.
Exactly.
Rod and Chris, the one observation that I had is that Kirk seemed to be very tentative. He wasn't going to go out too far out on a limb as to what he was going to do here at the University of Iowa. Obviously, he doesn't know an awful lot about what happened this last year. He's been focused on the Ravens. Did you find him being rather close to playing his cards close to the vest?
I think he's playing his cards right with this being the first press conference. He doesn't want to say anything off the cuff. But one thing is for sure, though, he does know a lot about offense. He knows a lot about offensive lines. And with Iowa being 3-8 last year, I think he can bring a lot to the table.
And there's good news and bad news. And I guess the good news is that Iowa did, well, the bad news is Iowa struggled. The good news is they played a lot of young players. I believe it was 17, 18 players that they brought in. So you've got a lot of guys that now have experience. So he's not coming into an empty cupboard by any means.
I think the recruiting process that Hayden Fry and his staff went through last year obviously is going to help him. He's got all 3 quarterbacks coming back. All were injured this year. They'll be healthy once the start of spring football.
And it's interesting that Randy Reiners was one of the guys that went around and talked to different coaches. You know, he's a character, so I'm sure he got some interesting questions out there and see what he has to say.
He said, how many times do you want to throw the ball, huh?
Oh, boy. I'll tell you what. You keep talking. I'm going to go grab a player, and I'll be right back.
All righty. Amy,
I have
I'm sorry.
a question to ask you. Yes, I thought that everybody there today certainly paid Hayden Fry his due. I think that Iowans needed to see some sort of ceremonial handoff here between Hayden Fry and Kirk Ferentz, and that was accomplished today.
You know what, Brian and Amy, the bottom line is Hayden Fry, when he came here, Iowa's program was dismal. 20 years later, he's made it into something that is of national prominence. Hayden Fry did a lot for this program, and Kirk Ferentz was a part of that for 8 years. Now he's going to take over, and now, as we said before, with him working at Maine, it's only going to help him.
Chris, there's a big sell job has to go on here now. First of all, Ferentz has to sell himself to the fans here in Iowa. Second of all, more immediately, he's got to sell himself to the players. Now, I can see a lot of the players standing around behind you there. I don't know if you've had a chance to talk to them yet. If you have had a chance to talk to them, what are they saying? If not, what's the expression on their faces?
Well, the feel is this, Brian. They know that this guy has Iowa ties, and that's the thing that was most important, not only to Hayden Fry, but for also these players. They need to know that someone that's coming in here that knows how business is done around here and has an opportunity to help these guys win this year. Now, the Bobby Stoops situation, yes, a lot of players did say coming into this game, to this press conference, that they did want Bobby Stoops, but some of them are also saying, hey, listen, this Kirk Ferentz guy, he's been in the program, let's give him a chance also. So you do have some of those players that do want to see Bob Stoops as the new coach. Rod now has one of those players right now.
That's right. I got Matt Bowen here with me, who's going to be one of the senior leaders next year. How strange a situation, first of all, with just the whole who the coach is and all that stuff put aside. The fact that you're coming in, your senior season, now you've got a whole new coach in and kind of start the process over. Something that you prefer, or would you prefer to stay with Hayden the whole time?
That's a tough question. You know, it's a hard question to answer. But, I mean, the situation we have right now is the only one I can go on. And, you know, I'm excited. I'm real excited. You know, a lot of my buddies are excited. And, you know, we got to meet Coach the first time tonight. And, you know, we're really looking forward to next season.
And he's got the black and gold connection. He said he came in here, the Hawkeye Fight Song gave him chills. That's got to make you feel good that you got a guy from down home here.
Yeah, it was cool. You know, he walked in and he had the Hawkeye tie on, too, when he came in. So, you know, I was excited to see that. And, you know, he seems like a real cool guy. And, you know, he seems like a people person. That's what I really like.
As far as the players, what have you guys been saying? How has that whole process gone? What has been the talk between players as far as the last 2 weeks has been for you?
Well, you know, it's been like the hallways of a high school, to tell you the truth. You know, there's a rumor here, you know, this guy's coming, this guy's not, this guy's staying. And to tell you the truth, it's kind of a relief that it's over with the whole situation. I'm glad we got Coach in. I'm glad we can start moving.
Very good. Hey, Matt, thanks a lot. Once again, that's Matt Bowen. He's a senior. He's defensive back. And what do we got here? We got Bob Bowlesby with us here. Hi, Bob.
Hi, guys.
How are you?
Bob, how are you?
A little double team tonight?
We're a double team. And what, first of all, take us through the process. Are you glad to get it over with? And obviously you're happy with your decision.
Well, we're only glad to get it over with because of the way it worked out, because of we got a terrific guy. And, you know, had we not had what we wanted or what we needed, we would have kept the process going. But he's got all the values we're looking for. He's got all the personal qualities. Obviously, a terrific football lineage, and he's widely viewed as one of the real gurus of what he does in the National Football League. So, you know, I think he meets our expectations and exceeds them on the field and off the field. He is a terrific person, great family guy, great work ethic, and I just couldn't be happier. I think he's going to be a terrific football coach for the University of Iowa.
Bob, you mentioned last week that there were roughly some 12 candidates. Today you mentioned that you got it down to 5, basically, that you went and interviewed. How did that whole process come about?
Well, a lot of it takes place in the back room because people don't want to be candidates, and you seek them out, you talk to them on the phone, you bring them along, talk about what there is and what there isn't, and you know, we had some people involved that we thought might choose to interview, and for one reason or another didn't. But you know, nobody likes to be recognized as a candidate. It's hard on you back on your other campus, and so that's why we don't talk about them, and that's why it takes place behind the scenes.
Bob, regardless of the Bob Stoops situation, I know you didn't want to get into that, but did you feel like you were under the gun at all to try to get a coach in here for this weekend for the recruits to come in?
Well, I think it was a secondary issue. You know, we really would like to have a coach here for all these recruiting weekends, and I think we've got a plan where we're going to be able to accomplish that. We've got 15 or 18 recruits coming in this weekend. I think we've got about 25 to 30 coming in the next weekend, and so we've got lots of work to do, and it looks like even that third weekend in December is going to be a big weekend for us. But that's going to be an important part of getting a good jump start and setting the stage and setting the table for January and February during the recruiting process. So we feel good about the plan. We feel good about the people. Kirk's got a lot of work to do, and he's the right guy.
Now, you were on the front lines of much criticism, regardless of what that was, but can you take us through the process? When did you guys make the decision to hire Kirk Ferentz?
Basically Tuesday night after our group got together when we got off the plane coming back from the interview. We interviewed Kirk in Cleveland. We got off the plane and visited for a few minutes, and then I put in a call to Coach Fry and said, you know, I'm not going to ask you to compare candidates because I know you know them all, and 3 of them have coached for you, but we've been very impressed by Kirk Ferentz, and tell me what I need to know about him. And he said, he's a terrific guy. What you see is what you get. He conducts himself very well. He's an effective recruiter. He's a tireless worker. He's a great football coach and a great guy. And I said, with that, my comfort level continues to rise. And so I called Kirk. We talked about a few things. His interest was higher than it was when we finished the process in Cleveland, and we put the deal together.
Bob, congratulations. You did yourself a good job. Now Rod is with some guy that used to coach here at Iowa.
What do I now? Bob's in for the biggest surprise of his life. He doesn't know when I heard the salary package, I'm coming back out of it.
Coach, you made one request. You said you wanted a guy with Iowa ties, and you got one.
That's right. I just told a group of news media a moment ago that Bob Bowlesby and Ann Rose did me the greatest favor in the world by not putting me on the search committee, because I've been involved in helping make a decision, and they were all my people. Although Terry Allen didn't coach or play for me, I think the world of Terry, and the other guys have. And I just think that Bob Bowlesby and the search committee came up with a great choice. Kirk Ferentz is just super.
How strange was it for you to sit here for the first time and watch another Iowa football coach up there?
Well, the first thing, I was sitting out here in the team area, and I realized that I'd been too soft on the kids. They got too comfortable a chair to pay attention. Oh, it was wonderful. This was a great get-together, and to see Kirk and his family, and to see Mary Sue Coleman. She was in New York on my retirement press conference. Couldn't be here, but she came over, and this is a great university and organization, and Kirk loves it. His family loves it. All of his kids but one, he's got 5, I believe, were born right here in Iowa City. So this is a natural.
How close will you stay to the Iowa football program, Hayden?
I have pledged to Mary Sue Coleman, Ann Rose, and Bob Bowlesby, and Kirk Ferentz that anytime they need me in any way to help better the program, I'll be available.
Final question. You've been retired for about 12 days now. What are you doing with yourself?
I haven't left the office. We've gotten over 3,000 letters, cards, telegrams in the office, all very positive, and I'm personally answering every one of them. Plus, I'm trying to help all my coaches get jobs across the country. Plus, I'm visiting with our present football players to, try to keep them here and I'm doing everything I can around the clock. I'm working harder now probably than before.
No, right, he said he was...
And the pay is different. Yeah.
He said he was going to ride out on that mule. I just found out that it was a Mercedes-Benz parked out there with Hayden Fry's name on it.
I wish. I wouldn't even know how to shift gears.
Adios, Coach. Thank you very much. Thanks for all the memories.
Thank you for the coverage.
Coach.
Appreciate it.
Thank you,
guys are fine people.
Former Iowa coach Hayden Fry.
He's a doozy.
Still strange to say former coach Hayden Fry.
I know. He's still the man in our eyes. I tell you what, that Hayden Fry is something special.
Well, we started it off with the new coach. We finished up with the old coach.
And it's just so difficult to say former coach Hayden Fry, but we're getting ready to start a new era. Kirk Ferentz is going to take us into the 21st century.
You guys, he certainly is. And as Bob Bowlesby said earlier, that Kirk Ferentz represents all of the best winning traditions that were accomplished under Coach Hayden Fry. So a real nice transition into the new millennium.
And we also heard Hayden, he gave us a big laugh by saying he's going to come out of retirement for this incentive package. And just before he said that, Amy and I were talking about that. Kirk's package is a 5-year deal with a $550,000 base. Incentives can take it up to $700,000 or $800,000. That's a lot more than Hayden was making, so we don't blame Hayden at all for considering possibly coming back out onto the field.
Rod Mackey, Chris Miller, great job down there. Thanks so much for joining us. And, of course, you guys will have much more tonight at 10, correct?
Okay. Absolutely.
Now, the night's not over for Kirk Ferentz. He is going to a party at the Levitt Center. And we'll be hearing from Jim Grayway, who's at that tonight. He's going to be meeting some of the Iowa boosters, and that's going to be going on for the rest of the night. As he said, he's been losing a lot of sleep, and I'm sure he's going to continue to do so in the next few days and weeks.
That's right, especially with recruiting weekends coming up. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us for this special live coverage tonight of the new 26th head coach in Iowa football history, Kirk Ferentz.
We'll have a complete wrap-up tonight on KGAN's 10 at 10.